There is so much happening politically in our country. One thing is clear from all this. We are deep in the season of political madness in Kenya. The usual political frenzy before a general election in our country. For anybody who has covered enough general elections in Kenya, like yours truly, this is very familiar ground. You know, we usually have 4 phases leading up to a general election. And we're in the first one. The first one is usually called confusion. This is as alliances are formed, not for the benefit of Kenyans, for the selfish interest of politicians. Stage number 2 is what I'd call emotions and more emotions. In other words, from the first phase of confusion, instead of going into a phase where you start getting things clear on your mind, we usually go into the phase of emotions, which is followed by the third phase, which I will call stop thinking and rush to your tribe. What that means is that if the other side has a very good proposal for what they want to do for the motherland, and which makes sense, and which looks like it can work, you don't see it because it is from the wrong side. The stop thinking phase. And then, of course, the last phase, which is the voting stage, I will call the zombie stage. Kenyans troop like zombies into polling stations, and they do precisely what is very predictable. And then, of course, these 4 phases are followed by 5 years of bitter complaints. Our leaders are not doing, they're not doing. But who voted them in? Yes, they were voted in by zombies, but it was you in zombie stage. Anyway, if you stick with me, and if it pleases Almighty God, I'll be around right through, then at least you have a chance of refusing, protecting yourself from falling into these other 3 stages. Because you're already into confusion. Anyway, let us quickly summarize the major headlines of what is happening, what is unfolding. And then we try and link them all together and analyze this so that we completely clear the confusion. By the end of this video, my objective is that you have a very clear head, clear mind. You clearly understand what is happening. Number 1, the One Kenya Alliance leaders and their parliamentary group made a major declaration in Naivasha, where they said that one of those 3 principles will be on the ballot in 2022. In other words, what they're saying is that they're not forming an alliance with Raila Odinga. They will never form an alliance with Raila Odinga. That's really what they're saying. Number 2, very interesting developments in the Mount Kenya region, where a section of the leaders from this region have set up 2 committees. They formed 2 committees who are supposed to draft priorities for the region to assist them to negotiate with major presidential candidates. That is, they will approach a candidate and tell them, if you want our votes, we want 1, 2, 3. Irreducible minimums. And then we will give you our vote as a region. Number 3, major presidential contender who are still not declared. And I believe he will not declare. Recently launched a roadmap he is calling Azimio la Umoja. And Raila said the following, and I quote, "We shall soon unveil the vehicle that has space for the diversity of Kenyans to the promised land. We must fix this country, its systems, its politics, then its economy. End of quote. Number 4, the ruling Jubilee Party, following a meeting of its National Management Committee, has written to OKA, One Kenya Alliance, informing them of its decision to enter into a pact with ODM, Orange Democratic Movement, the party of Raila Odinga. Number 5, the UDA leader, Deputy President William Ruto, faults leaders for seeking to form 2022 political coalitions, which are really tribal coalitions. Ruto says that his rivals have panicked. They have sensed defeat. And that's why there's all this frenzy of activity, this desperate effort to form coalitions. That's according to Bwana Ruto. So let's break it down further. It should be very clear by now that OKA, One Kenya Alliance, have fallen out with the handshake principles. And it is also clear that what the handshake principles are doing is something very crafty. They have decided that they will use other popular tribal leaders to replace the OKA principles. And indeed, this is not a bad strategy, because the truth of the matter is that the OKA leaders are vulnerable. They are people breathing down on Musalia Mudavadi, other popular leaders from the Luhya community. There are also people breathing down the neck of Kalonzo Musyoka, other popular leaders from Ukambani. And of course, the other people breathing down the neck of the most populated Luhya community, the Bukusu, breathing down the neck of their current leader, Moses Wetangula. If all the popular leaders in the Luhya community, Bukusu community, Kamba community, can agree and gang up against the OKA principles, those guys are toast. That's the truth. A dear member of our Telegram community the other day engaged me in a debate where they clearly told me they don't agree with me. And that is okay. Time will tell. It always does. But folks, you need to know that what the handshake principles are doing to the OKA leaders is straight from the Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi playbook. Kenyans who are old enough will remember that whenever Moi dropped a person from the cabinet from a certain community, he would replace that person with his political rival in that community. Because every politician has a rival. In politics, it is impossible not to have a rival. Even at the height of communist Russia, where they tried to pretend they're all united behind certain leaders, those leaders had rivals. People who were waiting on the wings for them to slip up. They were quiet. That's the only difference with what happens in a democratic space. But still, you cannot be in politics and not have rivals. Impossible. And then the next thing Moi would do would be to rally all the other popular leaders in that community behind this rival he has recently appointed to take over from another popular person from that community. That is one of the reasons why Moi ruled us for 24 long years. That strategy was a killer strategy. It always works. Always, without fail. Now, on this Mount Kenya business, I think we're all clear on it. Any efforts, to tell the Kikuyu community how to vote will fail. You can negotiate for years and months. It will not work. Because what will happen is that at the last minute, the community will make a decision. and that decision will be final. That's how they're going to vote. You know, if there's something our Kikuyu brethren hate most, is being told who to vote for. They don't like that. In fact, if you make efforts to tell them not to vote for so and so, that is the person they'll most likely vote for. Yeah, that's their psyche. That's how they operate. So my strong advice, ignore this Mount Kenya leaders meeting. Yeah, it'll have no political impact. Yeah, just ignore it. You won't miss anything. Now, in my view, the deputy president has a point. Yeah, when he says that these alliances being formed are tribal alliances. That is true. But we need to ask the deputy president a very simple question. What is the alternative? Yeah, and please let him not tell us the alternative is distributing wheelbarrows. Hiyo hatutakubali. I totally agree with the deputy president that these tribal formations are not good. They're not good for the country. They have never been good for the country. Indeed, I started the show today by listing the 4 phases the Kenyan voter passes through. Yeah? Confusion, stop thinking, emotions, zombie. Indeed, tribal zombie. Those are the phases we pass through as we head to the polls. Always. And of course, these tribal alliances and coalitions, yeah, are created to capture precisely that, those phases. So by the time people come out of their confusion, their emotions will take over and they'll stop thinking and they'll arrive at the polling booth. Zombies, not able to think before they cast their vote. But it is not enough, yeah, to want to replace something with wishful thinking. You need to get something stronger to replace what you want to replace. Otherwise it will not work. That's human nature for you. Kunaendanga hivyo. But there's something very interesting that is developing that we can see very early. When the handshake principles finish forming their super alliance, yeah, that will have people from all over the country, from all regions. When they finish, there are those who will be left out. And we can see very early that the people who will be left out of this alliance will be, of course, the deputy president and OKA, OKA. And so what do you think will happen next? I think it's obvious. OKA will form a kind of alliance with the deputy president. Yeah, if you've been locked out, you have to join hands, yeah, to break in, to deal with those people who have locked you out. It is so predictable. It is inevitable. Indeed, it is also easy to see that the OKA will gain more strength by forming a coalition with the deputy president, the rebel. Many Kenyans are very frustrated and very annoyed with the establishment. Yeah, we can call them rebel voters. Therefore, those Kenyans will quickly support the deputy president and anybody else he forms an alliance with. Yeah, and since OKA also are now rebels, this will be the coalition of rebels, and you can predict it very early. Still, anybody who wants to win the presidency of Kenya in 2022 cannot afford to ignore Raila Odinga and whatever side he falls on. Even if you don't like Raila Odinga, the truth is that he is a political giant. And you see, he's not a political giant by accident. The sacrifices, what he has done for a better Kenya, cannot be ignored. And a vast majority of Kenyans sense this. And therefore they can be very angry with Raila today. They can oppose a lot of what he's saying today. But when Kenyans go to the polls, our voters always seem to remember the sacrifice of Raila Odinga, and they vote accordingly. And so if Raila Odinga says kumekucha tosha, you can be sure kumekucha will win. Oh yes. The man has clout. Because as we all know, kumekucha is a nobody. And so if he picks on another name, who is a somebody, folks, that will be a done deal. I assure you. If he chooses to present himself, if he vies himself, that will be a done deal. It is very simple. Look at it this way. If you talk to a supporter of Musalia Mudavadi and ask them why they are supporting Musalia Mudavadi, and if you do the same with all the other people who want the presidency, Kalonzo Musyoka, etc., etc., the very bitter truth for the presidential aspirants is that those supporters of those other contenders don't have a story to tell. But the supporters of Raila Odinga right across the country have a very long story to tell. This man who still has permanent marks on his body as evidence that he has sacrificed a lot to fight for a better Kenya. It is hardly surprising that this particular Kenyan has fanatical, unwavering support when Kenyans enter polling booth. For too many Kenyans, this is the first general election that they are really looking at closely. So they don't remember that in the run-up to the 2013 presidential elections, many Kenyans had many issues with Raila. But what happened when it reached time for them to cast their vote? In 2017, the same. People had many, many issues with Raila Odinga. But the moment Raila picked up a microphone and said, "Haya," it was all over. Of course, it was all over, to be followed by fiddling of votes, fiddling of elections, fraud, stealing the elections from Raila Odinga. But if we're talking about a free, fair, and verifiable election, it was really all over. It was done, a done deal. His opponents, kwisha maneno. That's the truth. No, I really don't care what some people on this channel think and what they've been promoting, calling me a Raila blogger. I really don't care, because that's not the truth. And always, there may be a long delay, always in the end, the truth comes out. And that's why I don't care. I have my very many issues with Raila. But here I'm analyzing politics. I'm telling you the truth, undiluted. And so my issues with Raila aside, that is the truth about Raila, is a political juggernaut. And it doesn't help his opponents, that if you ask the question, what has Musalia Mudavadi done for Kenya in the past? What has Kalonzo Musyoka done for Kenya? What has Weta really done for Kenya? What has the deputy president really done for Kenya in the past? We are not interested in what they are going to do. We want, first of all, to focus on what they have done so far. What have those opponents of Raila done? You tell me. I wish somebody would vie in these elections. Who can stand next to Raila, against Raila? And when Kenyans ask him that question or ask her that question, they'll be able to give them a story that is credible. Even if what they have done for the country in the past is only 10% of what Raila has done, that would be good. That would be excellent. At least they've done something for the country, not for themselves, for Kenyans. They have done something that clearly displays and shows us their love for the motherland. Because if that love for the motherland, is strong enough, then we know for sure there'll be a good president for Kenya. I'm thinking of people like Koigi Wamwere. I'm thinking of people like Gitobu Imanyara. But sadly, Kenyans are not interested. Indeed, I'm sure some of you are asking, who are those? Kumekucha huyo ni nani? Ati Manyara, huyo ni nani? Koigi wa Mwere, ule mtu wa marasta. Get serious, kumekucha. I know. And of course I know the next question they will ask. What tribe are these people? Wametoka wapi? I'm telling you, Kenyans can't be helped. Utawasaidiaje? Hawasaidiki. Forget about it. Imagine the Kenyan voter dislikes another row people who have done something for the country. So much so, Gitubu Manyara can't even get elected MP. Koigi wa Mwere can't even get elected to anything. Yeah. Imagine at a MCA post, if they were interested. They can't. Yeah, shame on you Kenyans. You would rather elect thieves, people who have stolen from public coffers, and you're busy running around singing their praises and saying how they can be the next president. Yeah. Somebody stop this train called Kenya. I want to get off. Nasikia kutapika. Any minute now, I'm going to throw up just thinking about it. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.